The general topic is, I'd like to keep it to, is small enough to get decent coverage, is disruptions coming from the fairly rapid advances in AI recently. And there's two parts, and the first part is going to be just recent last 2 years exponential hockey stick advances in verbal programming. I don't like vibe; it seems too trendy or faddish. But I'll just call it verbal programming, using words to write like long, extensive programs that other heretofore had taken many, often hundreds or thousands of specific computer instructions, and now suddenly that. Uh, it's I'll say well, first link was an egregious example of that just happened yesterday, and I sent you the link, Stan. It's about a company called Block, formerly called Square, and they're about 10,000 employees. And I had to ask Grok when I came on, then I had to ask Grok quickly, give me a brief summary of it. It says, uh, Block, formerly Square, co-founded by Jack Dorsey, is a financial technology company that builds tools for payments, financial services, economic access. Its key products include Square for merchant payment processing, Cash App for peer-to-peer money transfers and investing, including Bitcoin, and TBD for centralized finance and blockchain initiatives. And and they just announced that the head of it, Jack Dorsey, just announced that he's basically laying off more than 40% of his 10,000 employees. Not that he's doing badly. They seem to be doing just fine. He just says he needs less than 60% of the staff because of just recent advances in AI.
You
So
got to the punchline. They laid off 40% out of the blue of their
yeah,
workforce.
it says over 40%. He's giving them generous separation, but you wonder how many more instances like this are going to be popping up now. And well, in general, I'd say in previous major advances in technology, I'd say society has not been, let's say, very generous and efficient and forethoughtful of how to distribute the vast increases in real wealth that have accrued and how to distribute it. And this is happening far, far faster. So that's something to think about and talk about later after the
Well, and
video.
it's going to be exponential. What
It
am I
is already. I'm going to show
saying?
you a short a hockey stick curve by one
Yeah.
of the top guys I follow for years on trying to understand AI, Wes Roth. He shows it. Well, if Stan, if you got this, it's only about a 50-second thing, and we can do without it since I pretty much described it. I just wanted to show you the guy himself explaining it. It's a short, about a 50-second video. Have you?
Is it the first video on the list?
It's the one that ends in, let's see, uh, it's about Jack Dorsey and his company Block laying off. Is the title?
Does that look like it?
No, the first one that's the one that's the main piece de resistance, the big letter that caused recently large drops and fluctuations in the stock market by a guy named Matt Shermer. It was basically published as I think it was a letter to his dad or something explaining what's going on, and he published the whole text on X. And what I'm going to play is a AI reading it. I think you'd rather hear it has a better reading voice than I do. So, but this is can you
Well, I
see
have
it?
the list. This is your list right here. What is it?
Well,
Which
I
one do
just
you want?
sent you an email separately, not on that list that I sent you. Do you see the email I just sent you? It's got a link somewhere in there. Uh,
Well, I've got bad news for you. The email that I have from you that's recent
yeah,
is about your friend in Iran.
but not the one with the link.
This is the
I can
email that
send
I
it.
have.
I can send that if I got that right now, and then you can play it a little later. We don't need it. It's not essential. It's basically what I told you. It's just Jack Dorsey announcing his sudden massive layoff, and
Well,
he said
can
sort
you
of.
located in his email so he can play it?
Yeah, I'll see if I can send it to you again here, if I can get my email without losing connection. I may get disconnected, but I'll come back.
Are we going to spend 5 minutes for a 50-second video or?
No,
Yeah.
we can move on there. And saying sent, let's see, Stan, metabolic hacks for cancer, links. Oh,
Oh my God, you guys know that my Dropbox is trying to tell me I'm out of space. I hate Dropbox. I use other things.
oh, here, I'll get the link up here. If I got it here, I got it right here. But let's see. Well, I could do it after all the things playing. I could try to find it and send it to you. I guess first I like to play the Wes Roth one. I think it's the second one, Stan, on the list I sent you. It's just you can just play the first 3 minutes to save time, where he shows the hockey stick curve and explains it. Now, this hockey stick curve, it's not showing how fast or how much the computer does on the y-axis. You're going to see is the different periods in hours, and that's the length, the maximum length of that it would take expert programmers or coders to write different programs. This is the maximum
Imagine
one,
being able to build an app with your name.
the maximum ones that an AI can handle with a certain degree of success. And you'll see, and the x-axis is, over time, over the last few years, and you'll see it just goes along, and then suddenly the last 2 years it's been up
Just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation.
What you're about to see on
what's going on, and we could go on to the main piece, the letter from Max Shumer, reading Max Schumer's letter. It's the one you put up first that shows in the picture. It says something big is happening.
Big warning here, this graphic. You want me to take this to the very beginning?
Oh, you can if I want to. Yeah, just started way in the middle. Yeah, and this is the one that probably knocked down Microsoft 15% in one day, and it's been kind of volatile in the software stocks. Then later, if we got time, and then you can talk to, if you want to, Dill, about 11:10, because I got a second part about full self-driving. But then I show you a treat, something useful to take away is by a really brilliant guy I've been following about which stocks will be affected and how by this, major ones. And I have to say that I know there's millions of guys touting stock ideas, but I've been following this guy for a year, and it's been fortunate enough he's helped me make a lot of money, let's say. So that'll be later if you got time. But play this one, then you can talk a while until about 11:10.
Don't be too enthusiastic about this AI slop video. It's a cycle and it drives me crazy, but I'll listen to it anyway.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Do you guys want to talk a while till before I show you somebody who really knows what they're talking about, saying how this is going to affect several of the major corporations?
As in that guy didn't know what he was talking about?
Oh, this guy did. This is
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, here's my quick question. Was he AI? I mean, he was very erudite. I mean,
he's in AI somehow. I don't know
no,
exactly what his
but was
job
that
is.
voice AI? How do we know?
No, I think that's in AI. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's AI, because the
That was an
original
AI
was a letter.
voice?
It's a 22, and then I got another link that Stan can put up for you. That it's to his 22-page original letter on X.
And that was a great presentation. The most paint drying, boring, repetitive video I have ever hoped to experience in my life.
I got very tired of the hand passing through the coffee cup.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well, I don't know what the,
Couldn't AI come up with some, give
yeah,
me
I
some,
think so.
give me some buffalo in Yosemite or something to watch? No, it was compelling. I found out I couldn't do my plumbing and listen to him at the same time.
What they do though is they start with a point, they introduce a new point, then they start with another point behind that. They kind of recycle the information.
It
And then-
always sounded like he was about to conclude, and then he would
Yeah.
And then he would
completely go off.
increment up to a new fact, and then he would
That
recycle
was
that.
AI.
Then he would and then he would increment up to a new fact, and then he would go back and sort
Right.
of
It was a bit fragmented, right?
one
right,
step
yeah.
forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the way the world works for me. But yeah, I had a question. You mentioned that I think it was Tater or TD or blah 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 blah, Eric, that whatever that's doing this stuff. And this is probably the same guy I heard on that commie station, as you guys call it, NPR. And he pointed out, I'm just talking about tech in general, because AI is just the exponent on tech and the effects they're all over there from. The big wigs at Apple and Google and the Silicon Tar Pit, they have special schools where they send their kids. Guess what? They have a school that is zero tech, no screens, no phones, no laptops, no nothing. They actually learn because they want them to be survivors from the crap that they've created.
And make connections there. That's the main
Right,
thing of
and the
going to
connections,
Harvard is you make connections.
and also all the smart bigwigs at video game companies do not allow video games in their home for their 7, 8, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, my daughter's that way with my grandkids. Very
Yeah.
limited screen time.
Yeah, it's like the guy that produces Scotch whiskey doesn't bring it home to his kids, does he? Or marijuana. You know, the drug dealers, they don't allow their own kids
Right.
to do drugs.
Right. They don't take it.
No.
Yeah. Putin doesn't drink, by the way, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Well, if he got drunk, he might order a launch or something, nuclear launch. So maybe
Well,
it's good.
no, if he got drunk, we could put something in it, possibly.
Yeah. Well, or he might order a launch.
Yeah. Well, Trump gets drunk on chicken nuggets, but so far
So are you guys thinking about what the political and social implications of all these hordes of people, white collar people now being, say, that typical person who plays by the rules, studies hard, and goes to get a computer science degree or certificate. They're not a genius, but competent, and run up 100 to 200,000 debt. And now they find they're only qualified to work at McDonald's. What's going to happen with all these people?
right. I had a follow-up question that he alluded to, because as it stands today, AI is replicating itself mentally, right? We'll use that word.
I've got a section, about a 10-minute section, and later we can, if we got time, and
Peter
Diamandis panel about that.
Is it building the data farms in Tuscaloosa, Mississippi?
Yeah.
Does it have its own army of robots out there building its own hardware? Not yet.
Not that we know of.
Well, couldn't we stop them with a cruise missile? If they started doing that, I don't know.
I know.
Are we ready to hit this one?
Which one? Oh, and if you guys don't want to talk more, maybe to hit the. Let's see.
Nobody has their hand up. I'm amazed.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you are as stunned as I am, and I'm not stunned because I have seen this coming for several years.
What is it going to do politically to all the massive unemployment and so on? I thought you guys would have a lot of opinions and emotions about that.
It's making my brain reel, and yeah.
Yeah, was that all that one?
Yeah.
Stan? Oh, yeah, I may as well go to one then, software is dead. It says, this guy, Alex of says one that says Anthropic just killed software stocks, and here's what happens next. This guy followed for about a year. He seems nobody really understand the technology, chip technology, and so on, and software, and its ramifications. And he's got a double master's in electrical engineering from MIT and almost a doctorate in systems studies, and he's really helped me a lot in trying to understand what is going on and the implications for investment and so on, which company, how these things are going to affect various of the major corporations. So, yeah, I can play that now as your bonus. I like to always say, try to give people something that they can make their life better. They can walk away and make their life a little better in some way. They're healthier, wealthier, wiser.
H. Tom actually had his hand up, but he's
Oh, I don't know.
Carol,
My question is long gone.
Okay.
Carol.
Carol? Carol?
Okay. None of them are talking about what is going to be the big, big bottleneck in this mass creation of intelligent agents. And that is the building of more and more and more computer centers.
Thank you.
And the environmental effect of cooling more and more and more, hardware centers.
That's Vertex is the big one in that. It's been great. You don't hear as much about it on the news. Vertex, VRTX, I think. Yeah, that's had that quite a while because there's a dominant, like 70% of the market in the water cooling of data centers. So that's been great, and they don't hear that much about it. It's not touted that much on the news, and he's mentioned it before in previous.
Well, what it is that before this revolution, okay, last year, data centers were already seen as a serious impact on the environment, a serious contributor to global warming, which we should all be afraid of. Now, I think this can go in one of two ways. That the industry goes right ahead and builds more and more and more data centers because they're going to need them for all of this. And the government or whomever just lets it go on. And then eventually it's seen that we are beating all of the, increase in global temperature per year productions. And people decide something has to be done about this. So they either forbid the creation of more data centers or put an enormous tax on them that will make all of these applications more expensive. So I think that whole messy interface with the environment is going to become the bottleneck. And how we solve it is going to be very interesting. Anybody want to talk about that?
Gene has his hand up.
Yeah, Dean?
Well, I want to respond to that.
Well, can you, all right, go ahead, quickly.
There is a company that wants to produce, when you have heat and you have to dispense heat, that's because you're pushing electrons through circuitry. But if you can change that system to change it to pushing photons through circuitry, you can diminish the need for.
Yeah, but that ain't the reality on the ground today, Stan.
Well,
That's pie in the sky. Well, it might become
pie in the oven.
All right, I'll go.
Can Stan finish this?
And I have
please?
my turn back, and then Stan, you're next.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I would like to hear the end of what Stan was talking about.
Well, it's true that it's still not a quote, it's not scalable yet, but there are prototypes that are in development. And I put the same video up last week, but it's a company out of Texas that is producing an optically compute with photons, a photonic
But
chip.
let me interrupt you because you interrupted me. In the meantime, we are building gigawatts and gigawatts and gigawatts of data centers.
Okay, but he's coming up with a suggestion for ways to ameliorate this.
For the long term
Bubble.
or the short near term, or we don't know yet. Yeah, kind of like cold fusion or fusion in general. We don't
But I
know.
will concede that they're claiming 100x improvement in terms of.
Well, they claim anything to get their stock up and get vulture capitalists, Stan. Don't
Well,
be
what I'm trying to
naive.
say is that their 100x will be totally consumed by more demand, and that won't matter either.
There is long-term hope. I agree. Now, can I make my point?
Sure, since you're answering my point.
Well, before Stan interrupted me, but that's okay. I always want to hear what Stan has to say. I can summarize your point, Carol, in about 10 words. It'll be more than 10, but when my TiVo is acting stupid, when my laptop is acting stupid, when my router/modem is acting stupid, when my TV is acting stupid, which AI to me is acting stupidly, I just simply pull the plug. And then I plug it back in when I'm ready. We could pull the plug on AI tomorrow. Greenpeace could do it. They just need drones, to cut the power lines. But yeah, no, I really do. I don't see, well, AI is disruptive beyond disruptive beyond disruptive to the Google power. All right. And in the long run. And yeah, I just think you have to have some reins on it. It reminds me of my grandma who was horse and buggy and saw a man walk on the moon in her lifetime. Well, now we're going from horse and buggy to the Concorde in a decade in terms of that hockey stick curve. And I think it's just too much, too fast. Put aside the environmental issues, which are huge. Put aside the 40% increase in electric costs where they're building these data centers in poor states and poor counties because they need the jobs. Put aside the fact that we are doing it. The excuse is because we have to try to stay ahead of China. Good luck with that. But, so at what cost? So that's it. I've said my piece. Stan, you had more points?
I'm looking for that video.
Oh, okay. Does anybody else have a suggestion for addressing this bottleneck?
Hold the
which
plug.
already exists?
Hold the plug.
There's a new form of liquid cooling for these centers that is not water. That's one thing. And there's also legislation pending in a number of states that the data centers will have to supply their own energy, which means, they would probably put in some renewables, maybe possible backup of gas generation, but they are working on that. They realize the bind they're getting in. So I think they are planning different ways to approach it.
And you're 100% right, Doug. And it's states that are doing it and all that. They're enlightened states that are saying, hey, but when you're talking about, oh, we'll get all this great cooling, well, how much oil and coal are we going to burn to produce the heat that we then cool efficiently? I mean, it's a horrible feedback loop.
Oh, and just because you're not using water does not mean that your heat will not ultimately be dissipated into the atmosphere.
Yeah, the San Onofre power plant right up the coast from me was a great example. We're on an ocean, great. We're not heating a river, and they ran all the and then they went out and did a long-term study and found out they were having an effect on the marine ecosystem throughout all of California, Southern California, and Diablo was doing the same thing. The ocean is an ultimate heat sink, maybe, but not 3 miles offshore ain't enough. They thought it would be.
Maybe they need to build them in downtown areas and use district heating to take advantage of all the heat they're producing.
Perfect. Use the Iceland model. You live on a volcano, then heat your sidewalks in every home for free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I will mention, and I have put this forward in previous presentations, there is one place in the world where heating the ocean is a really, really good idea. And that is in the North Atlantic coast of Europe.
Yep.
Because if you heat up the ocean enough there, you can prevent the destruction of the Gulf Stream.
But are you also going to contribute to the ice melt of the North Atlantic, which is not as that's already floating ice, so it's not as critical as what's going on in Antarctica, which is critical, and the Himalayas and etc. But yeah, no, I get that point.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to get going on part 2 here pretty soon. In fact,
well, actually,
it's not going to be resolved by us. It's going to be resolved by the titanic struggle going on largely out of our perception by among the technology and money and IQ and political power and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I vote for let's get to part 2. I want
part
more
2 is of disruptions coming soon is that Tesla's full self-driving has now reached a tipping point where it's probably already better than the average human driver under most conditions. In fact, one insurance company has already offered a 50% discount in Arizona because that's what they've concluded, that it's about 50% safer there, at least, and it's going to spread rapidly. I got an 18-minute video here called 6 million Teslas are about to wake up. And Elon, with all his genius and knowledge, he seems pretty confident because he's about to, in April, is going into mass production of cyber cabs for about 30, with no steering wheel or pedals for about $30,000, he says. I don't know if he'll make that figure, but yeah, let's get that, and then so we'll still have a few minutes to talk about. Well, just think about the implications of that. Like one of the obvious ones that people are saying is Uber is done for, but let's play a video, and then you can talk about other implications of all this.
I just wanted to add in something in. The trouble is with this cameras only. Anytime you have weather, the cameras can't see. That's why sensors are necessary with this Tesla.
Yep.
Well, that's why I don't drive, but I don't drive when I can't see either. I don't know.
Yeah. Can
And
we
then-
watch the rest of the video and
The,
then?
the other issue about LiDAR versus cameras that I've heard from Elon is that he doesn't want to have that
Oh,
last.
Elon, you call him Elon. He's your personal friend?
Yeah, I consider him one too.
Yeah.
A
right.
mind partner.
He wants to, I want to make a point here. He
Mentor.
doesn't want to have at the very last nanosecond a split decision between what LiDAR says and what the cameras are saying.
Can we watch the rest of the video, please? I think I was actually first, but I'll listen to Carol first. Obviously, this guy is a Tesla pimp.
Yeah.
He's owned stock since 2012. So, but Carol,
Go now? Okay, this is only going to work if Elon, as he calls him, can keep out of politics. Because
Nobody can.
yeah. And let me interrupt
please,
real
let her
quick.
finish.
Let me
Finish
interrupt
the
real
Come
quick.
on. Hey,
If Tesla made a car that I wanted to drive and they don't even come close, I would put aside my political feelings, just like I do every time I order on Amazon, because I hate that BHF also. But
that
yeah, they
sentence
don't.
of mine did not end with a period. It ended with a because.
My hand was up before yours, Carol. I deferred to you. Go ahead. I'm muting.
Damn it. Okay, we have already seen one really bad setback for Tesla as a selling entity when Elon decided to mess with politics and suddenly became incredibly unpopular to the extent that the general public quit buying Teslas.
Not for
Yeah.
long.
It happened for a while. I am just saying, Elon has been a really good guy from a global human race perspective in several areas. But if he keeps meddling in politics, the Tesla is going to be so unpopular that it gets rid of all of these advantages.
Wishful thinking, Carol.
If he hadn't meddled in politics, we would probably no longer have meaningful national elections. That's reality. If you dig deep
That's
enough.
a whole nother
You
discussion.
laugh, but the public is just brainwashed,
Yeah.
ignorant, stupid.
Carol,
compared to
you'll come back to me
compared to
because I'm
Elon.
next. And
Yeah.
you're interrupting, Eric, but I love it when you do.
Yeah.
Well,
Carol, please continue, please.
I have finished what I have to say.
No more.
Warren?
I'm a Tesla pimp myself. I've owned the stock for a long time, and I have a Tesla, and I use it every day. It's amazing. There are a few still issues that it has, but it's remarkable, and it is life-saving.
Dean?
All right, I had my hand up first. Yeah, and who was it? It was you guys keep moving around on the screen. Talking about, so what we need coming soon is the federalization, because you see, we have to get rid of our Constitution. Good luck on that, because how can we have, when it used to take 8 days to get from Philadelphia to DC in a frickin' covered wagon, state sovereignty was okay. It ain't okay when I can do the cannonball run in 27 hours, which, by the way, years ago was won by a Chevy van over Maseratis, Ferraris, etc., who had to stop and pee, and the people in the Chevy van just had 8,000 salami sandwiches in back and a place to pee, and they beat all of the supercars. But yeah, this whole thing about the federal, because the fact that states are autonomous has kind of become obsolete. When I can program my Tesla to drive to Massachusetts and back with, but I can't because of state laws, right? And should I be able to, is the fact that I can get rid of Uber drivers and take my Tesla out and make money while I'm sleeping. I could live with that. It's kind of like the stock market, right? But you see that the world has changed, in case you haven't noticed.
I think the most interesting point about the success of full self-driving is to be able to transform parking lots into more interesting points of city planning.
Oh, let me get going on parking lots, because this is real data. Because of cell phones, right? They have estimated that we need to build, what's the old song? Put up another parking lot. They paved paradise and put up another parking lot. 25% more parking spots. Because I see people, you call it anecdotal, I call it observational. I pull into a parking spot. The bimbette or bim boy is on his phone. And I go into the store, Walmart even, get what I want, come out. They're still on their phone. And then when they finally do go in and get back in the car, they're on their phone for 5, 10, 15 minutes. And the number of parking spaces available has been decreasing by the year because of phones, just phones alone. All right, H-Tom.
I've forgotten what I was going to say.
Can I say something here?
Yep.
Sure, raise your hand.
I don't know how to raise my hand. I don't know where you do that.
Where did you go to elementary school, my friend?
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Serious.
I might have.
It's
No.
it's under reactions.
It's under reactions.
Very
On the
bottom
it
of the
says react.
screen.
Bottom
It
middle,
says
it says react.
It's hard
Click
to
on
find.
that, and then go up to, there's the thing that says raise hand.
I'll be
All
a
right.
pimp for MacBook Pro. That's all I got to do. But yeah.
On my screen, you go to react,
Yeah.
which is a heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You click on it,
Tom Walsh.
and raise hand is one of the options.
Okay, I have a question about the Teslas and security, especially if we're going to get to the point where we can send our car back home and be able to call it and have it when we need it, or have it go elsewhere and do stuff. Does this somehow make our cars more vulnerable to hacking and use
And does it increase traffic? If you send your car home like a taxi and then have it come and pick you up, now you're making 4 commutes per day, not 2. Right?
Right, yeah, that's kind of beside my point. My point was whether the vehicle is more at risk with this kind of technology.
What at risk? What do you mean by at risk?
Hacking, being taken over by someone else.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm into hacking. Yeah.
So anyone got an answer?
Well, inevitably, the government's going to figure out a way to do that more and more.
The government?
Yes.
The government? Which government are we talking about, my friend?
Yeah.
Yes. All of them.
All of them.
All of them. I just still want California to secede, but from the union, but the government won't have it.
Yeah.
Carol.
Okay, I'll make my point and then I suggest you call on JOH because we haven't heard from him before.
Yes.
Well, we did once.
Now, okay, the thing that is going to make these cars, the self-driving cars, most vulnerable to hacking is not what you mentioned, but the fact that all of the self-driving cars will be put on the market with the fact that they obey all posted speed limits built in. And therein will be an enormous incentive for people to post on the internet free hacks to mess your car up so that it will not obey the speed limits. And of course, once you do that, it will leave it much more vulnerable to hacking because you've already played with the software.
I will leave it to the Tesla owners to comment on how hackable a Tesla is, but everything is hackable. Yep.
JOH is next.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've gone down the rabbit hole on this technology and watching videos and whatnot, and you know, the weather issue with the cameras, and then you know they have Tesla can do the self-driving now, but they just can't. They can't release it. I mean, they've had that. You know, they can't get to the final. It's still got to be supervised. You still got to sit there and watch the car and be able to intervene. Whereas if you have the sensors, you know, it sees this small child running in front of the car, it sees the dog. Whereas the Tesla, the cameras will miss a lot of that stuff, especially if you have a rain or snow and the cameras get covered. So I don't know, maybe the Tesla owner can convince me otherwise. And the sensor prices have gone down. It's extremely, you know, they're not. It doesn't cost that much anymore to add the extra sensors to the cars.
Pennies,
Yeah.
literally, figuratively. They estimated that backup cameras required in 2019 cost about $20 per car.
I'm talking about the LiDAR and all that. You know, the LiDAR can see better than the human eyes. And for something as critical as driving and safety, that's absolutely necessary if you're going to have a fully autonomous.
Yep, and LiDAR is getting cheaper by the day, by the hour, by the week. Yep.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is Tesla can't get there because.
Yep.
I rode in a self-driving taxi about a year ago, and it was, you know, self-driving, but it still had to be attended. So I think it's just still pie in the sky with this camera-only system. Plus, another thing is all that data, all that information is great that the guy in the video talked about, but that all requires immense processing and computing and communication. It's got to go to the cloud and grab that data and bring it down. Whereas you have a LiDAR car where it's all local, the car can make decisions based on its environment without having to stop and pause and go get that data and process it and bring it down. So I think it's a less, you know, it's standalone system where it doesn't rely on the communication with the cloud. I don't know if the Tesla is going to download all that mapping data as it goes, where based on where the car is. I suppose it could work like that, but
be a little hard going through tunnels.
Eric, I think you're next. And by the way, Eric, it's your presentation, so you can respond to any of the questions.
Okay, well,
over
from here
time.
on out, it's mostly political that it'll obstruct the massive rollout of Tesla. And one obviously, the political opposition, mainly the biggest one, of course, being Google with their countless billions of lobbying money. They'll fight tooth and nail to slow down Tesla. So, and I can't predict how that's going to come out. And as Tom, I don't know, I don't want to get too much off topic, but you laugh at if you are aware of I don't know how it's not obvious that what's going on with if you look at go back and look at videos of Hillary and crazy Bernie Sanders in, say, 1990, when the main constituency of the old Democratic Party was honest working Americans just trying to get a better deal. You can find videos of them ranting correctly about what horribly harmful open borders does to honest American workers.
We're getting
Now,
we're
that's
getting
totally
off future
out
and
of sight,
engaging
out of
in
mind.
politics.
Yeah, but to laugh is such a display of ignorance of how the world really works. And
Eric, we need to start
it's been expelled. It's been explained. Elon's going to, and the Democrats, even some of the woke ones, radical ones, even brag about it. All they got to do is dump about a few 100,000 each of invaders in each of 10 battleground states, and it's all over. I don't know, and they're there certainly not out of compassion for them. That's not why the Dems are letting them in, but just for their vote they intend to keep them permanently dependent. That's the idea, and to automatically harvest their votes. And also, like voter ID. Tom, why did Tom walk away? I'm trying to explain just basic, absolutely critical information. I guess he can't emotionally cope with it or something. Why on earth apply common sense? Why would anyone really, in the country's best interest, want to not have proof of citizenship for voting? Why does Mondani require two IDs to shovel snow for him, but none to vote for him? Just apply common sense. Why all the overwhelmingly the Democrat rulers? I think it's still a majority of actual well-meaning Democrat people, registered voters, still favor voter ID for vote, citizenship, proof of citizenship to vote. Well, why would anybody not think about it?
I'll tell you why. Because
cheat, of course.
Voter fraud is
of course
a freaking scam.
Yeah.
It never, ever, ever has been shown to be statistically important in any state, in any election in the last 100 years. End of story.
Yeah. So
I want to talk about the LiDAR versus camera problem.
Let's get back to
if you want to think about that, John, can a LiDAR see a stop sign and see that it says stop? It might be able to see that it's an octagon, but it can't see the words stop because it's got to be. I used to design video games. Okay, you've got geometry and you've got RGB information, and what Musk is trying to do is eliminate the geometry issue and just have the RGB information, which gives him a faster throughput. And also edge case information is done in the modeling side, which isn't happening in your car. Your car is only doing what they call inference, which means that it's basically aware of all of this training that has been told, and that the amount of information that it needs to drive around is not going to be the complex modeling side of that problem.
Yep. And I can circle back. Would you rather be blind or deaf? I would rather be neither.
Yeah. But bottom line, it's working the best. Tesla's working the best, and it's just and it's getting better all the time. There's a big new improvement coming out soon.
I know you own Tesla stock. But
Only because I think that's why I own it. I'm not trying to
Carol's
make it
point,
go up by talking to you guys.
I navigate everywhere in my Mini, mostly because I either use CarPlay or whatever, because I want to look on my dashboard and see what the speed limit is, not go down and trim trees to find the hidden. But it is not updated in real time, and it'll say, "Oh, it's 35 here. Why is everybody going 45? Oh, it changed to 45, and we didn't tell you," or vice versa. So it's not real.
Carol?
Oh God, I managed to forget what I was going to say listening to Dean. Oh, okay. A while back, somebody said that the only problem with having LiDAR and optical was
The
choosing
arbitrator.
between them.
Yep.
You know, where the car, one of them says, stop, you're going to run into somebody, and the other one says, go right ahead. And that can be solved trivially with a software override that says anything that looks like you're going to kill or injure people has override. And you might stop occasionally when you don't need to. But in choosing between two systems, one of which says go right ahead and one of which says stop, the one of which says stop overrides.
Well said.
That's taken care of.
Actually, you can put in a third sensor using ultrasound like my Subaru has, and it looks for things coming ahead and coming at me from behind. So you got three sensors, and two of them say stop. You stop.
Yep. And by the way, just real quick, we probably in San Diego, I believe we have more Teslas per capita than any city on the planet. And I can instantly tell the ones that are self-driving. And I'm here to tell you, they drive nicely. Yeah, they drive very nicely. And I know how to interact because I use assisted driving, and I can interact with them. And they do a lot better than the idiots with their phones. And tell me, why does somebody driving a Tesla need an iPhone right in front of their face? The reason is TikTok, because Tesla, well, you know, I can't even turn on my I can't even take a video on my phone in my Mini Cooper because BMW does not allow me to turn on video and stupidly pick up my phone and take video. That's blocked when I'm driving.
Yeah.
My car owns my phone and vice versa, and it keeps me safer and other people, hopefully.
Yeah, and Dean, I'm not necessarily touting at all anybody to go out and buy Tesla stock. It's way down in my portfolio and one of the lesser ones because it is very expensive now, and there is great political risk and other.
Yeah, but my dream, if I had 150K 20 years ago, whenever, was to buy that Tesla Roadster. God, I wanted that car.
I think I'm next. I think one of the big advantages of this technology is when the cars will be able to better intercommunicate among themselves. That will help avoid collisions, traffic jams. People won't be sitting there for 5 seconds when the light turns green because they're still looking at their phone. So the traffic will flow more smoothly. So it has a potential to be not only safer, but saving gas or electrical power or whatever, because it's more efficient that way.
And that's been talked about for 40 years. We had that in San Diego, literally 40 years ago, with a bunch of Buicks driving 15 feet at 65 miles an hour. But what happens when you mix it with other traffic? You see, that was on a dedicated.
That is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of has to be all or nothing.
Yeah. So are we going to buy everybody on welfare a new Toyota Corolla and put in this software? You see, that's the economic political issue.
Well, most people won't need it on welfare, especially won't need to buy cars. It'll be cheaper to just call a robo taxi.
Well,
I
right
just
now,
saw
Ubers
something
are
that
pretty
they're
expensive.
charging about $3 to $5 a mile and $5 a mile in New York now for Uber, but and Tesla's talking about 30 cents a mile.
Yeah, I've done hundreds of hours in Ubers and whatever. I'm not hundreds, but hundreds of, and it's never cheaper than having my own rental car. Hasn't been ever.
And they still don't filter all the drivers that great.
And my company wouldn't pay for it, bottom line. So there.
Yeah.
Stan's next.
Well, there's the one thing I was going to say, you don't have to buy anybody a car if you have a sufficiently large fleet of robo-taxis.
Yeah.
They are functionally working with your phone to say, I'm here, I want to go there.
Yeah.
They come as quickly as possible and you get there as quickly as possible. I think that solves that problem.
And another huge problem is that if you
I want to go back what Tom Walsh said, something about being hacked while your car is out on doing another errand. I'm also concerned about the fact that the car knows I'm in it, and it's something about that car doesn't like me, and it tells me to drive off a bridge. And I actually have that sense of some dread sometimes that if they're after me, it's like that Stuxnet problem where they ruined the Iranian enrichment plan. There is going to be a way that they can come in and damage and hack the software and do the kind of, in quotes, hit or underground disappearing in a situation that they want to.
Yeah, I had a plot along those lines. I had an idea for a plot for a subgenre of science fiction or computer fiction that were the mystery that the people running the city transit system order overall the futuristic system to minimize traffic accidents and deaths, and then people that are convicted and repeatedly convicted and released drunk drivers start dying, being suddenly little glitches in the system start causing them to be, it turns them the wrong way or it causes them to go off a bridge or go off the road and to be killed. And then it turns out that was the system obeying the goal to, these far left judges, lunatic left judges that keep releasing repeat offenders for and drunk drivers and things. And the system decided they can minimize overall traffic accidents and deaths by just getting rid of these people.
It's already 12:20. So Eric, do you have a conclusion to your presentation, or are we pretty much done with that?
I'm just going to leave it to you guys to, there's a huge amount of other things, implication to consider. Well, one is that I guess, I don't know if it's been mentioned that look, think how much it costs for a lot of people to park downtown. You live in the suburbs to get to live in a decent, safe neighborhood, and then you have to go downtown and pay huge amounts. I don't know what it is in Minneapolis now, 50 a day or something. You don't have to do that now. If you got either your own, you can either use a robo-taxi rental, or you could just send your car to it's cheaper lot just outside the downtown area, or you could just put it out to rent for other people, during the day. Poor people that don't have to work, welfare people.
Hey, do you have anything outside of self-driving vehicles regarding AI?
Well, those were the two main. I thought those two would be enough for one day.
Okay.
Well, do you have
Eric and I
there's
could talk
war,
about
all kinds of.
politics for an hour. My hand is up. So the problem is, so let's just say so you're saying all they have to do is the people on welfare going up to the bodega to buy their diabetes inducing food on my EBT SNAP welfare, is that we get into the problem of in America, we have choice, and they choose to be autonomous, and they will drive their polluting 74 model Corolla because we like autonomy in this country. You see, we don't we're not Europe. We're not Japan. We're not China. And we value autonomy. And having four wheels, ask any teenager, is the sign of autonomy. Having four wheels, and I go where I want to go when I want to do. You remember the song?
Oh, yeah, okay. Another secondary, tertiary effect is, of course, with all this hordes of people getting unemployed, maybe they'll have to, politicians will quickly shove forward a basic minimum income system to help compensate people. Well, then that'll attract even more invaders from other countries to.
Well, that's as long as Elon Musk and Bozos pay for it, yeah. But yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. How much?
I have the solution: Soylent Green. Soylent Green.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Carol?
Yes, I don't think you need to worry, Eric. Look at Norway's answer to our president suggesting he'd love to see more immigrants from Norway. And essentially they're saying, but who would want to live in your country the way it is now?
Yeah, they have the advantage of homogeneity and civilized.
They had it, and so did Sweden.
Well, they did. Yeah, they threw it.
And
They committed
Sweden
suicide,
threw
basically.
theirs away. Yeah,
I
Norway
almost
had theirs.
emigrated to Sweden many
Yep.
decades ago, and I'm so relieved now I didn't. They've just, it's
And
called pathological altruism, and there are many books
Right.
and
There you
videos
go.
on that.
Yep.
It's just, the West is just suiciding, and I just, it's baffling to me how they've been conned into that by the politicians and rulers, and for their own short-term self-interests. They think,
Well, partly it's because we are a nation of immigrants. Everybody here is an immigrant. We have, none of us, I doubt, have any Native American blood.
Well, actually, the Native Americans were immigrants just longer ago.
And they were immigrants across the Bering.
And if you talk about stolen land, anybody babbles about that, well, ask them if, first of all, well, do they own property? Yeah, do they believe in receiving stolen property? If they say no, I don't believe in that. Well, then sign it over to the last tribe right away that owned that land. And don't ask, and when you do it, don't ask them embarrassing questions about how their tribe got the land. They'll give you some cockamamie bullshit about the Great Spirit grew them out of the ground. They took it from another tribe by force. Everybody did.
Even in Southern California.
Hey, Dean, we're way off topic. I have to go. I just want to mention that next week, I think the presentation is the gut-brain connection.
That sounds right.
And that's is that you, Stan?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have some new data on that that I just learned, and I'll research it about the studying of the biome in the gut. And it ain't as simple as what the yogurt commercials would make you think.
But
that's when I'm going to talk about that. It's still a work in progress.
Yep.
Okay. And then after that, I'll be continuing my series on energy futures. I'll be talking about natural gas as a source of electrical power. And then after that, do we have somebody for that?
Well,
I don't know. David isn't here today, and he's keeping the list.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, those are the next two presentations.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
So I got to go.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But